Hey guys, welcome to another episode of DeLuSioNaL's Arcade. So in this episode, we're going to swap out, this is a burned-in K7000 from the Rolling Thunder that was blurry. We got it all working and everything with the rejuvenation, but it's still really burned in. And I did find a 100% compatible drop-in replacement TV. This is the kind you can just get on Craigslist or for free. So I guess without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into the episode. Okay, so we have the monitor and the TV here. I've had more luck, I just wanted to say, with no-name brands. So in this case, it's LXI, which is a Sears brand. I looked it up. They just seem to be more compatible. I remember way back when, before I was doing this tube spot, before I got Brave, there was a Daewoo that I had, a 19-inch, that actually was compatible. I'm not sure if it was compatible with a G07 or what he was swapping out, but he was like rejoicing that it worked perfectly. He was really happy about that because it was burn-free, so I just gave it to him. But yeah, it took me a while to find this. I'm going to go ahead and kind of give you another view of my other TV that I got that I'm going to keep anyway because I may use it for a G07, just the tube, because I think on a G07 it's more difficult where the yoke is a little more different. But this one, people are saying the K7000 is really easy to swap. So we'll see how that goes. So let me get the other shot and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so this is the other TV. This actually is a Samsung. It's a 19-inch. That I got, from Craigslist again, got it free. You'd be surprised how many you find out there. People just want to get rid of them. They'll won't even charge you. Occasionally they'll try to charge like $5, $10 or whatever. And for a tube that is compatible, it's worth it. But going blind like that where you don't know what's inside yet, it's kind of a crapshoot. So just make sure it has a model number 19 in there. If it has 20, it's probably a 20-inch, which is not compatible. A lot of people will say they have a 19-inch TV and it's really a 20. So you don't want to waste anyone's time. But either way, this is it. That's a Samsung. This one has a CR23 in there, which I believe is compatible. Of course, CR31 is the most common, people are saying, and I get a CR23 when I first tried. So I probably will keep that maybe for a G07 because I think that's CR23. That's my other thing I'll talk about in a future episode that I built, a Mizpac bar top. And then this one here is a Symphonic. Again, no-name brands I think are more compatible for me because they just have some obscure tubes in there that nobody really knows. They're not mainstream. So this one is a 13-inch monitor that I may use. I'm not sure because my other 4800 that I have in the cocktail is actually really, really good. So we'll see how this goes. But this is a burn-free tube. So what I usually do is I'll pop them open and then just write, the specs on them. I'll just test it with a multimeter and then kind of put it on the side. And then when I need it, I'll just refer to that sticker that I put on there. And then these, of course, are not going to get tube swaps. These are Trinitrons, the PVMs that I use for gaming and stuff. They're RGB monitors. So I have the smaller one and then the bigger one. So once it's 19, I'm like, okay, I go grab the TV and then I open it up when I get home. And when you open it up, you're going to see I wrote everything down. In this case, it's CR31. Red and blue, it's 3.4 ohms. You just measure all that. Yellow and green is 14 ohms, horizontal and vertical. So you can kind of see if it's compatible with this. And in this case, the red and blue is 3.1 ohms and the yellow and green is 13.4. So 14 is pretty close enough to 13.4 and 3.4 is close enough to 3.1. So these are, I believe, 100% compatible. You can literally just take the neck board off, keep the yoke intact, put it back in here. The bolts actually line up too. I already looked. And then we can drop it in, swap it, and then do the adjustments from there. Because obviously every tube is slightly different due to the voltages or the ohms. So hopefully we'll be able to swap this thing out. And usually what I do is I'll take this out and I'll put it back in this case and I'll recycle it. So either way, it's going to a good place, it's going to a good home. We're recycling this, throwing it out. The other thing I might do, 'cause some people are telling me that, the yoke, people should, that they're telling me, why don't you swap the yoke? It was really meant to be with the chassis. Don't use the yoke in the other one. But they're really, really, really close. And I've never heard of anything bad happening, especially when they're really close like that. I'm going to give it a shot. But what I won't do is I won't recycle this thing yet. I'm going to actually take this off when I recycle it, stick this in the TV and cut off the cord so no one can use it and it'll get recycled. But I'll still keep the original yoke. So if you guys are wondering, I am going to keep the original yoke even though I'm taking this plug and play thing here. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll take this off the bench here and we'll just take this and kind of take the screws off and see what we got. Okay, so I have everything here that I need. I'm using an extra long extension. Just keep that in mind if you're using an electric screwdriver. A lot of times it comes kind of smaller, and this actually won't fit in some of the crevices. There's like long holes you got to get into. Regular screwdriver will work, but I have this little extension on here just to help me out, make it easier. So as always, there's always a warning. This stuff is kind of dangerous, so make sure you know what you're doing with discharging a monitor. A TV gets discharged the same way. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out here. There's usually these aren't, they don't have security screws anywhere. You can just use regular Phillips screwdriver to take all the screws out. So I'm just removing everything. And I did this earlier already because I wanted to check to make sure it's compatible. And when you do that, when you're putting out an ad, it's really good. I put out an ad in Craigslist asking people, you know, if they had it, and a lot of people responded back. A lot of them were 20s, but what you do is you'll ask them, hey, can you look at the sticker on the back? And in this case, the serial number and the part number, it actually has nothing to do with if it's a 19-inch, but I did look it up and I confirmed it was 19 by looking it up on the web. But this one, the model number is 304.4901. And 5 zeros. I guess it has a 9 in it, but still there's no way. Usually it'll say like AC 1902 or something, so you know it's a 19-inch. And if it says 20, usually 9 times out of 10 it's a 20-inch. So, you know, just double check the model number. If you really don't care, if they're giving it away for free and you don't have to travel a lot, then I would say just, you know, if it's like 10 minutes away, pick it up no matter what. And then if it's not what you need, you just go straight to the recycling center and, you know, just recycle it for them. All right, so that's all of them, I think. Just gonna get this cord out of the way. And, oh, there's one still here. So, there we go. So it just pops right off. I'm gonna keep these screws here. There's some that are gonna fall out. I just grabbed them, this and this. So you don't wanna destroy this if you can, because you wanna put the other tube when you're recycling it. Once it's all done, you want to put it back into this thing, because a lot of recycling centers will not take it. So if you leave it like this, or if you just give them the tube, they're going to be like, what are you doing? So just, you know, kind of disguise it, make it a regular TV and it's acceptable so no one can get electrocuted, and then give it back to them. Well, or recycle it, because, you know, wherever you got it from. So I'm putting that on the side. So this is it. You can see I already discharged it ahead of time. I just left the anode cup off. I'm going to go ahead and give it another discharge just in case. I'm going to walk in front of the camera here. And this one does not have a chassis like the other one does, you know, with the metal. So just be careful when you're discharging it. It's a little different. I usually put it on the screws. Like I'm going to put it on this screw right here, because that's part of the metal for the degaussing coil and stuff. And then you just kind of just stick it there and pop it off. So that's what I did. So this is completely discharged. I already did that ahead of time. And the thing that you're going to be looking for, obviously you got to take this off because you want to remove it. And then the other thing that's connected is the degaussing coil is going to be connected on there. And of course, I'm gonna pop this off here. It's kind of hard to get. I'm going to kind of whack it to get it out. There we go. So this is the plug for the yoke. So you want to grab that as well. Sometimes everything, in this case, I can see the flyback is connected, so I have to kind of cut this off. So let me go ahead and get some pliers. We'll go ahead and cut it off and we'll see if we can remove it. Before we do anything, let me go ahead and show you how I tested it so you can find out what ohms it is. So the first thing you'll want to do is you can take this off to find out what kind of neck board it is, or what kind of plug it is on the tube itself. In this case, it's a CR31, but if you don't know that, typically they have model numbers. I'll see if I can spin it around to show you guys. But right over here, there's a sticker usually on every single tube. And in this case, it's A48JLL90X. And that one is, I believe, 6.3 volts, 50 volts for the G2, and it's CR31. And you could use the same link. I'll put it in the description as well. I used it last time for that, for the rejuvenation video, but you can go to Tubular, that website there, and the Tubular website will show you, you know, when you type that in, what it is. In this case, I typed it in right away and it said CR31. I was like, yes, finally, I got one that works. But again, you don't know if it's compatible until you test the actual ohms on the yoke. If they're not compatible, I have never done this myself, and I haven't done a tooth swap, to be honest. I know people that have, but they're saying that you know, if it's not compatible, you can still take off this whole yoke winding off, put the one from the original monitor on there, and as long as the pins line up and everything, you're good to go, and it's all the same, obviously, because this is going straight to the yoke, and that's what we're testing here to see if it's compatible. It's just a lot easier where you can just plug and play, or you can switch the whole thing, and then you have to just do all the, you know, which I'm terrible at, the convergence and all that stuff. So let's go ahead and test this. I'm going to use my other multimeter. Now this multimeter, I have a link in the description as well. If you don't have one, you can get one at Harbor Freight, but this one is like, I got it on Amazon for like, I think it's $11.99 or $12 at the most. And what I like about it is everything is automatic. So for a beginner, you can just set it to, if you set it to the first one, it says DC voltage. There's nothing to press. On my other multimeter, you have to set it, they're both the same, and you have to set it DC or AC, and you may forget which one you have selected, and you don't want to burn fuses inside if you do it wrong, which I've done. So that says DC, and this one here says AC. But in this case, we're going right to the ohm symbol, and it's in ohm mode right there. So I'm going to go ahead and test this. I don't think you guys can see on camera, but I'll see if I can hold it up. But what you're going to do is you're going to put this, some of them, by the way, this one doesn't have green. Usually it's green and yellow and then red and blue. But this one doesn't have the green one. And I believe on this one, it's a Funai tube, F-U-N-A-I. Yeah. And people are saying that you have to reverse these. So we'll try to figure it out. We'll put it on there. And if the image is backwards, we'll just flip it over. It's not a big deal. So let's go with the red and see if I can squeeze that in there. I'm not sure if it'll fit. I think what I did before is I snipped the wires, but I'd rather not do that right now. Let's see. Yeah, that's not fitting. Oh wait, it is. There we go. So let's see. Is it going in? This is a lot thinner than the other one. You know what I'll do? I'll use a little trick. Let's see if we can do it. Where I'll put it back on here. Let's see. The red goes down. So I'll put it on here like so. And then I'll test it from the back. Or if you can't get to the back, you can kind of get your probes in on those little things right there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go from the back. I think that's how I did it originally, so I can figure out what's what. And it doesn't matter which one you put on what side, as long as you just have the whole thing in there, and I'll grab that. I'll just leave it there. It's a lot easier for me to see. So there's this one and that one. And that one says 3.5, 3.4. It's going back and forth in 3.5. Okay, so that's 3.5. So the red and the blue are 3.5, and I believe I wrote it down. Let me just double check here. Yeah, I wrote it down, 3.4. And that's the horizontal. So now you want to do the vertical, which is the other two. So let me do that. And it's that one and this one. Okay, it's these two right here. So I'm looking. That one you have to give it a second till it goes all the way up. That one says 14.3. 14.4, 14.3. So it's okay. I think from what I heard, I think 15 is like really the limit on which you can go on the K7000. So that should be fine. Let me see if I wrote it correctly. Yeah, I wrote 14.0. But it's fine. It's within spec. So keep that in mind. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to temporarily take this off the table. And I'm going to move over the K7000 so you can see. I'm going to test that one as well. All right. So this one obviously is a lot easier because the connector is a little bigger as well. So I think what I'm going to do, see if I can get in here. A lot of times it's hard to get to that connector. There we go. That was actually pretty easy. So let me switch this back to ohms. And you're going to take the red and the blue. See, these are a little bigger, it can fit right in the probe. And now I'm looking, and it's counting up to 3.1, 3.2. And the other one was 3.4. So this is pretty close, it's pretty compatible for the horizontal. So now we're going to go to the vertical, which is the green and yellow. We'll plug that in, and it's going to go up. We just got to wait. This one says 13.4, and the other one I have here was 14, 14.3, something like that. So it's within one, and it's fine. They said you can go up to 15. I think I talked to Buffett, and he was telling me that. So this is 100% compatible. And the reason it's a drop-in is because you can literally just cut the stuff off of here, cut the wires, swap them, plug it in, and then plug the neck board in, and you're good to go. You don't have to change the yoke out or anything. But if it's not, let's say these are different, I believe, don't quote me, you can actually still use it, not the yoke, but you can use the tube where you take the yoke off, put the original back on, which has the correct readings that you need, and then it will plug right into the neck board, no problem, because they're both CR31s. So let's keep that in mind. If it's not a drop-in replacement, you can still use it, just you have to take the whole yoke off. And I probably will end up taking this yoke off once I get everything swapped. Like I said, I'm going to take it off, I'm going to save it, but I'm going to show you guys how to take it off. There's a whole bunch of glue on here you got to take off. So we'll try doing that together. If it necks it, it's not a big deal because this is trash anyway. So yeah, so there you go. So that's how you know. You just got to make sure that the ohms match or are close. Okay, so I already went and discharged this monitor. Always do that. Remove the anode cup. And I'm just going to pull out the chassis because we don't really need it in there, and I don't want anything to happen to it where we accidentally mess it up while we're trying to get the other monitor in there, because you're going to have to get all the bolts and stuff out. And, you know, it's a little delicate. You don't want it to smack into the neck board or anything. So I'm taking this off. That's the little connector that I made. Now that it's out, I can kind of pull it out, get a better handle on the housing thing here. And I may actually take the one from here to use because it's kind of made for this whole setup here and the length of the wire and the connectors and everything. I may just take this off. It's only on there with tie wraps. So there's like 4 there, and so we'll see. I'm not really sure what I want to do with that. But let me just take the chassis, and that's why I love the K7000. It's just so easy to take out. So let me just take this off, be gentle about it. There we go. So that's it, chassis out. And I'm gonna take a look at this a little closer now. I'm actually gonna flip it up. Okay, I just rotated this around here. That way you can see what's going on inside, because this thing was blocking before. And so this whole tube's going, but you do want to, like I said, I'm gonna take this off at a later date. But I'm going to take these off right here. These are just the 4 clips. 1, these are tie wraps. 2. And then, let me just see where these go. Okay, they actually just go in that little part right there. Not a big deal. And then the rest of it is connected down there. I may have to desolder it. Let me just go on the other side to see what's going on here. It's funny, they don't have a tie wrap here. They actually have a twist tie. So that's off, that's off. So that's the only one that's loose is right there, and then this whole thing will come right out. So that's pretty easy. So let's go ahead and untwist this thing here. I'm going to keep it just in case I need it. But most likely I'll put a bigger twist tie, tie wrap on there. All right, so this should come out. And I don't think it matters which way you orient it, but I'm gonna keep it in that position. So I'm just gonna like put it on top of something so I remember to put it down like that. All right, and then we need, let's see, what do we need here? I guess what we'll do is, it's easier to take it out like this But I'm going to put it to the front for a second. But I'm going to take out, see, these are where the, this is where the zip tie, I keep saying tie wrap, but zip tie is what I mean. That one's kind of wedged in there. This one I think can slide right out. Yeah. But I'm going to go ahead and get my ratchet set. We'll take this out and then we'll take all 4 bolts out and then we can swap in the other one. Okay, so I have my ratchet set here and I think, let's try this one. Yep, first try, 11 millimeters. And I'm just going to put this on there. I need the adapter in order to do that. So I'm just going to loosen it. Looks like there's a nut on the back that's square, so it stays on. You don't really have to hold it or anything, which is great. So let me loosen that. I'm just going to loosen it on this, at this angle, and I'm going to kind of tilt it forward because I don't want it falling out. And last one is over here. All right. So now let me get a better angle here where I'll tilt it forward. Okay. And I should be able to twist it out. Oh, still not yet. There we go. So I just got to remember what order everything goes in. And it looks like this metal part of the monitor is actually flush against the frame. And then there's washers here and there in between. It's important that you note that because like when you put it back in the machine or any machine, it may be off a little bit. It might not hit the bezel correctly and stuff like that. So what's really cool is this is built in to the frame. So you don't have to worry about losing nuts or holding another one on the side. But so it looks like it has a lock washer and a regular washer on that side. So I'll put this on the side here. Let me go on this side now. See if I can just get it. Yep. And that's 2. And then these over here. Oh, this one's still loose. There we go. So I think I can get the other one by hand too. Yeah, nice. All right, so I'm taking them both off at the same time, or I'm trying to. Speed things up here. That one's almost done, and all right, so I'll just put those on the side. And that's it. So now you just take this off. It's a little heavy, but put that on the side. And now we'll just do this literal swap. So now I'm gonna have to remember that the wire here, I'm gonna have to just make another connector on here. What I may do is, I don't really have any more of these. I might just take a butt connector and get it on there. But anyway, let me take it. So now here's the TV in the state we left it in. And this is going to be a little more difficult. Obviously, it's not a K7000, so you got to kind of tear it apart to get in there. But this one looks like it slides out. Hey, that might be easier because I'm looking here. The degaussing coil is right there. And obviously, I'm not going to use this degaussing coil. I'll keep it intact just in case, but if you guys have any comments of whether I should keep that or not, or I should have kept it, I'm probably going to not use this one. I'll use the other one. But this one seems a little more robust, where it's thinner, but it goes around here. It doesn't come around like that. It kind of crosses over the center, and then you have this one going there. I don't know. I mean, I have a degaussing wand, so I don't think it matters. All right, so that's there. We need to take this off. So this one has Phillips screws. It's a little different. So I just want to make sure. Let me take this off. Okay. And then this pin right here we don't need. I just want to get everything free. And this one we already took out. Won't need that. And I guess technically it will come out, but the power cord is still connected. So I think I can get it out if I just take the screws out. So this one doesn't have, it's a little different. Let's see, it has Phillips screwdrivers. Phillips bits, I should say, or screws. So I'm just going to take that out. Let's get this third one here. Put these up there. And it should come right out. Let me just double check if nothing's connected. Yeah, it looks like a whole bunch of stuff actually is, because you have the neck board and stuff. So I'm gonna have to cut these, not the wires, but just these zip ties. Keep those on the side. Same thing there. So now this is free. That's part of the chassis. This is part of the chassis. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, so let's just grab it. We'll take it out. It's hitting the chassis. So I'm going to grab it like this. See if I can just, there we go. Much better. All right. So I'm just going to move this out of the way. We don't need that anymore. Let me move this a little better on here. So I'm keeping this intact again. Don't destroy this, because you want to put your other tube, once you're all done in here, in there to recycle it. Put it all back together. And this is it. So the anode cup is right here. I wonder if I should just use this. I might get lazy and just pop this in there and use this degaussing circuit, but it seems a little thin compared to the other one. Here, I'm going to bring out the other one now and have it over here. What do you think? Should I go for this one and just leave it? Or should I put this one back on it? You know, I think I'm going to use this one, and I'll tell you why, because I'm not sure if the tube is shaped the same. So I could put this on here, but this one has everything I need. You know, it has a little piece of metal here, the spring that's holding everything together. It's not zip tied. It actually has these really cool, like, plastic bracket thingies. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it. What I will do, though, I think I'm going to clean it up, because it's pretty dirty. All right, so I have an old rag. I'm just kind of spraying on the rag itself, because I don't want it to get too crazy. And, oh, there's my daughter. You know what that means, intermission. She's calling me. I was trying to get this done during her nap. But that's what you got to do, man. You got to balance your family life. You know, I'd rather spend my evenings with the family and the weekends with the family, like I said, in the evenings. And right now, I got to go grab her. So I have the baby monitor right there. Comment if you have a same situation. We have kids. Kids take over your life. There's a lot of people saying, I can't do my arcade hobby because I have kids. You can do it. You just got to balance it, you know. Don't let it consume you. And then you can find time. Especially if your significant other has the buy-in. That's the most important thing. She has to buy it in. So, all right, so this looks nice and clean. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause here and then come back later and see if I can pop it into that frame. Okay, so now that that's all clean, I was looking at this wire here. This is actually the ground wire. Looks a little skinny to me, but I mean, ground is ground, right? I guess. So what I may do is I'll take it with the other one And you know what? Let's do something before anything else. Let's just quickly compare them. So this is the new tube, and the old one looks like this. We'll put them exactly side by side with the things facing the current way. So these look a little wider to me. These look skinnier here. I don't know if you could see that. Yeah, you can. Okay, so these right here look a little. They look a little bigger. These are smaller. It's not a big deal. I really like these things. I think they're neat. The little holders instead of the other stuff the other one had. And here's the grounding thing that grounds it to the chassis, and then you have this ground wire that goes from there. And on this one, you have it right here, which goes right into that. And it's all wound into the same, oh no, it's actually right here. So yeah, so I think I'm just gonna snip this off, put it on there. Let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so I grabbed a couple tools. And I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna get it probably right there. I guess halfway is fine. And I'm gonna take this and just do that. And I'm gonna throw one of these on it. This is a butt connector. Typically when I do recaps, I just put this butt connector on. I get a little lazy. But I'm really glad, I guess because I was swapping everything back and forth so often, I kind of opted to use this instead, this connector that I can quickly disconnect. And I'm glad I did, because I would have went through a lot of these. Okay, let's look at these side by side. So looks like they're keyed the same. Everything's good. The same amount of pins. CR31 obviously, and then this one is the older one. This one has all the rings. They're not glued down, which is awesome. So I can mess with those if I need to. This one is glued down on the older one. And then this connector I'm gonna need. I know for a fact that on the new one, the Funai one, somebody reported on Clav, they said the red and the green are 1 for 1. You just put them on there. That's the horizontal. But for the vertical, this one here, if you look at it, doesn't have a green. It actually has a brown instead. And the yellow doesn't match with the yellow. You would think the yellow would go there. It turns out the brown actually goes to the yellow, and the green goes with the yellow on this one. So yellow and brown, and it's actually reversed. It's brown and yellow, or we'll flip it on. So we do need this connector. I can stick something in there and try to get these out and recrimp them, but I don't have these pins anyway. I don't think I do. Not really familiar with these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of get lazy and just literally slice it right here. We'll crimp them exactly how I think they should go. I'm pretty sure through research that I'm going to do it. So I'm actually going to make it quite permanent or semi-permanent. But anyway, let's get this done in the meantime. We don't want to get sidetracked. So I'm going to take the ground wire, which was, where the heck was it? This right here. And I'm just going to just cut it. And these connectors, I'm going to save this connector because I'm probably going to use it in the future, I'm sure. I'm just going to cut it to a length that I think I can use that again with. And this is a little thinner, this wire, so I'm going to double it up. That way it doesn't come apart easily. So I'm going to twist it together, fold it, and that makes it twice the thickness here. And then I'm going to take this connector that I just put on, and it should be plenty long. And I'm just going to crimp it on here, on the end of it. Fit in nice and snug. I can feel it there. All right, so now it's nice and snug. This is one wire, and then I can connect it into there. So that's done. Now we just have to worry about this, and they folded it. I'm actually gonna, they kind of put it in a knot to make it shorter, but I'm gonna give it its maximum length here. I'm gonna snip all these parts off. So I'm gonna make it pretty, want to see if I can, I have this connector actually. I have this on my JAMA, my really cheap JAMA harness. It's on there. So I'm going to snip all these off, because I already know kind of how they go. Let's actually snip a little here. Okay. I'm going to use this to kind of get everything back. And these are pretty thick, right, the gauge? I mean, they're okay. I might double these up as well. Let's see. Yeah, we might as well, because they're pretty thin. So, 3. Now, typically what you would do, I guess, if I didn't know exactly like what the wiring would be, you'd probably want to get these together with alligator clips or something temporarily until you figure everything out. But like I said, I'm pretty confident that they're what they're supposed to be. Let me just twist all these together. I'm going to grab the butt connectors in a second. I have them in the other room. All right, let me go grab them. I'll be right back. Okay, I grabbed 4 of them. So we'll put them here for now. And then I'm going to snip this. I'll snip it right in the middle too in case we need to put it back for whatever reason. You don't want to snip it at the end because then you can't recover those. So let's take these. I'm just going to get a little messy here and let them go to the floor. It's fine. I'll clean it later. Yeah, these are a little thin too. So I'm doubling them up. That way they get crimped really well. All right. And you know what? I'm pretty confident about the red and blue. And I want to hook it up. I'll hook it up the other way. Actually, I'm going to hook it up with the alligator clips just to show you guys what it'll do if I match the colors, thinking what I think they are. It's okay to reverse them. The only thing you don't want to do is you don't want to put horizontal. You don't want to mix horizontal and vertical. So blue and red is fine. If you switch those around on the other wires, it's fine. Wow, I don't want to neck it. And then, you know, you just can't do this where you crisscross those other ones. So as long as you keep vertical with vertical and horizontal with horizontal, you should be fine. The image will still be fine because the ohms are the same. It'll just be a reversed image or upside down or something. And if that's the case, you just reverse the wires around. All right, so there's those 4. This one I'm going to get rid of. I'm actually going to take this off. I just wanted to kind of compare the yokes where they look very similar. But I'm looking at this one. This one looks like a lot newer. And like I said, you can move those rings right there, the convergence rings, and these are glued on. So I'm still going to salvage this. We'll do that later. But for now, take it on the side. Move this a little closer. And then here are my connectors. So this is the one I don't want. You can see it's like a lot thinner. This is the one I do want. So now that that's done, I'm going to just take this, put it in here. We'll do the red one. And then we'll take the next one, which is the blue. Yeah, I'm glad I doubled them up. The red is thicker, but the blue one and the other 2 are not. And then, you know what? I'm not going to put these on yet because I need the alligator clip to kind of grab onto something and it's harder to put it in there. So I'll leave these off. Let me just take this out for now. There we go. So that and that. Okay, so actually I do need this still. So we got the red one. Goes to red on here, which I haven't folded these yet. I'm going to use this to kind of fold it easier. There we go. So red goes on there. Okay. You could always tape them with electrical tape to test it out, but I don't think I need to do that. Alligator clips look more pro anyway. So, oh, I forgot to fold that one. So I'm going to fold it in half. Okay. That's blue. All right, the other two we're just going to leave open. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect them like if you were doing this for the first time and didn't know. Let's see, are they over here? I want to double check I have everything I need. Yeah, here are my two clips. So what I'm going to do is, oops. I'm going to just connect the, I'm not going to do it now because I got to put it in still, but I'm going to connect yellow to yellow and then brown to green, which is not right. So you'll see that it's going to be inversed, and then we'll flip it back so you can see, you know, that depending on how you reverse everything, that's how it displays on the screen. So I'm going to leave it off for now. I'm just moving everything to the side over here, just temporarily. Let me grab all these wires here. And I'm going to get the frame. So let's get the frame. You know what? I'll leave it here. Put this on the side here. And this is pretty clean. I already cleaned it a while back when I was doing the other recap. So I don't need to clean that anymore. It's as clean as I think it'll get anyway. Throw that out too. So let's see. If we put this down, so what we want to do is put this, we want the anode cup to face this way, like we wanted to originally. And then this thing is going to go right on there like that. And we want this to face up, which is going up this way. Just got to be careful. This is sharp metal and you can cut stuff. I don't want to cut anything. And then I think we said this goes on top here. So that'll go right on top. All right, that looks like it'll fit. All right, so let's put this in. We'll put the first one through. And we'll just have it go right into there. Again, these are built in right onto the frame. This is actually a cool frame. I've had other frames where you have to do manual, like you have a bolt and you have to tighten it with 2 wrenches. It's kind of a pain. This one here. So far, it looks like a drop-in replacement. Fingers crossed. That would be really cool. And there's different degrees of tube swaps. If you want to see a real detailed one, Arcade Jason actually has a really good one that he, I think he switches it on his journey. And, you know, but he really knows them inside out. Like, he's just good at that kind of stuff. You know, I'm trying to show the perspective of anyone can do this as long as you're careful and you do your research ahead of time. My knowledge definitely doesn't go as deep as Jason's. He's really good. And subscribe to his channel. If you guys are new, Arcade Jason, he's a really cool dude. I want to pay a visit, I keep saying, out to Ohio. Arcade Hollywood is another one. I think he's friends with him as well. So it'd be cool if we could all collaborate and do an awesome video together. Where's that one? Oh, let me go on the other side. I can't really see it here. All right. So far, so good. So I think it's really cool that you can take a tube from TV and put it in an arcade monitor. I think it's awesome. You know, you just have to have the proper chassis in there. And it'll be burn free. Unless these guys played Atari on here and let it burn in, which is pretty unlikely. So now I'm just going to tighten this up. And I don't have to worry about those zip ties, which is cool. Because this already has those plastic pieces on there. There we go. I'm not tightening them down all the way. Just enough to kind of make it snug so when I stand it up, it doesn't slide. Let's turn this around. And you know me, I like to wear different t-shirts. All these episodes that are arcade related. Gets you in the mood, you know. This is from Brofest. I actually didn't make it to this one. It's Brofest 3. I think John organized that with everybody, and Yak. And I haven't met the guys out there, but I definitely want to go. I know people that have gone, but you know, I still have to make it out there. Who knows if I'll do it this year in 2019, or if I do it next year, but I definitely want to make a trip out there. Even if it's not during the event. Even if I go to like a B&B or something, or Airbnb, and just go and pay a visit to the place. That'd be awesome. And of course, we'd do an arcade tour. That would be standard. All right, so this is it. It's in there. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So it looks like it fit perfectly. Can't ask for a better tube at this point. You know, I'm tightening it pretty good. This is metal to metal, so I'm tightening it pretty good here. Let me just go this way. And I'll grab this one just by going like that. And then the last one over here. All right, cool. Very cool. All right, so let's turn it around. We'll get the chassis in here. We'll, this monitor, to me, it feels a little heavier. Maybe it's just me. No, it feels a tiny bit heavier, I don't know. Because I feel like it's a little top heavy now. See how it does that? It didn't do that before. But still, it's a match, so we'll see what happens. I can put this away. And we can get the other stuff going on. So here's the chassis. And let's stick that in there. I'm going to kind of get this as the ground that I just made. But before I do that, you know what? I forgot to do the degaussing coil here. Let me snip. There's little zip ties here that are preventing it from stretching where it needs to be. This one too. Actually, no, that can stay. So it's a different connector on here. Again, it's a lot skinnier. So the other one on the other chassis, let me see. Actually, it's on the degaussing coil over here. I'm actually walking over to the other one. So this one has a different connector on here. So I got to kind of tap into that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the butt connector method again. But this time I think I'm going to make it a little longer because it's not going to reach. So I'm going to snip it right here and right there. So let's take this. We'll put this little connector on here. Throw that on there. That's one. Pull it, yep. And then this other one here. Same thing. Stick it in there and crimp. All right, so these are on there pretty good. They're not coming out. We now have it connected to the new degaussing, well, the old connector, the new one. So now we can kind of put it in. So I usually put this on the side, and we'll put this in first. It's just hard to get in there sometimes, so it's always better to put it on now and not worry about it later. And then of course we have to make sure that we have the alligator stuff on there. So we got yellow. Let me fold these in half because I know I'm going to have to anyway. Got yellow right here, and then we got the brown. And again, I'll fold it in half. Okay, and then so yellow is going to be the black one, and that's going to go to this yellow one here, which I think is incorrect, but we'll see, we'll find out. And then this brown one is going to go to the green one right here. All right. So I'll double check that later to make sure it didn't fall off. And then this will go into the degaussing thing here, which is right there. Doesn't matter which way it goes in, it's fine. And let me get this out of the way. So let's pop this in here. At least get it bolted down so it doesn't move. There we go. There's 1, 2, and then what did I do? Oh, here it is. We'll take the Phillips thing off and put the driver in. And for some reason it's not going in. I think something might be stuck in there. Let's see. Sorry, I'm getting in the way here. Ah, it's this right here. It's the actual degaussing. Sometimes that'll happen where it's like, it's a little different monitor. So like things like this is the degaussing coil here, is actually preventing it from going in, but now it's fine. It's good to go. Just got to adjust the little things because it's not used to being in here. So there's one, and this one over here. Perfect. All right, let's throw this on. And it should fit fine. Yep, fits good. Can't forget to connect this. Where is that ground wire I just had? Ah, here it is. Ground wire. Connect it together. It's weird. Typically they're down here when they're soldered, but it's up there for whatever reason. All right, I want to make sure this doesn't touch anything. So you got that connector, which is not touching anything. And then we got this yellow one, which is connected to the other one right over here. And that's not touching anything either. All right, so let's see where this takes us. I'm going to connect it to my TPG, and then we'll go on the other side and we'll see what we can see. Okay, so I have everything hooked up. My TPG, it's great and everything, but these connectors, I got them actually through Mike's Arcade. I don't know what the deal is, but these connectors keep coming out, so I have to keep crimping them down. So instead of crimping them, what I'm doing now is I'm soldering them on and then snapping them back in. So, you know, that way they hold really tight. And I even put some extra relief, strain relief here. Not sure why they keep doing that, but they keep falling apart. So I don't know. I don't want to order a new one, a new cable, and then the same thing happens. So I'm just going to keep repairing it as I go so that it's fixed the right way, so it'll never happen again. But of course, just when I was about to do it, that's when it kind of fell apart. Anyway, so I'm looking at this now, and I have to do a future tutorial because what's happening is I have to add an LED because I left it on. See, it's on. It's supposed to be off. So this battery is dead. So let me go ahead and grab a new battery. I will be right back. Okay, so we're back. Dead battery. I left this in the on position, and it happens very often. I'm really pretty diligent about checking it, but you know, it was left in the on position. So anyway, let's go ahead and fire this up, and let's actually move this over to the front here. I just wanted to show the back, and so far nothing's happening. It looks like the flyback's turned up too bright here, but let me go ahead and put a signal through here. Okay. Looks like just needs a degaussing, and it is backwards as suspected and upside down. So before I do anything, I'm just going to turn on the flyback here. But that's good, it's compatible. All right, let's go to brightness. So everything's going to need to be readjusted for this thing. Yeah. So before I do anything, let me go ahead and degauss it. I'm going to grab my wand over here. Okay, and by the way, guys, I got this thing, I think I got it on eBay. Must have been 40 bucks maybe, 45, 40, 35. I can't remember, it was a long time ago. And I've only used it a handful of times, but it works great for situations like this. I could put a link, I'll look one up for you guys on Amazon and put an affiliate link in the description. That way it'll go towards the channel if you guys decide to buy it. So let me put this in here. I'm just gonna plug it in real quick. And you don't wanna hold down the button when you're degaussing it for too long. And by the way, it's degauss or degauss, but it's not degauss or degauss. It's degauss, I say degaussing. So I'm gonna keep this, I'm just gonna kind of turn it up a little bit. Move it back so I can get in there. And what you wanna do is you wanna start, I have it right here. You wanna start from kind of back here, way back, kind of do like a circular thing, and you'll see it moving around, and then you move back again to kind of stabilize it. So you'll hear this sound, it's like a crackling sound. Here we go. Like a buzzing sound, you see it? You want to get all the magnets, and then you move away, and that's it. That's the color it's supposed to be, blue. So I'm reversing the vertical, which is the yellow and the green, with these alligator clips. So if I had to do it again, I'd probably use electrical tape because these things are dangling everywhere. I'm just making sure they're not touching metal anywhere, being extra careful. Okay, so I reversed everything. I'm actually going to connect the power real quick, make sure it's off, and let's see what happens. What do you guys see over here? Yep, that looks good. So the guy was right on the forums. He said all you have to do is swap the vertical. So it looks like yellow would go to yellow, and then brown would go to green, but actually brown goes to yellow, and then the green goes to yellow. So you'd have to just switch them around. So all you got to do is just swap the vertical wires. So the first thing I'll do, let me go ahead and do the flyback. I'm down here, and I'm going to get the focus knob. And it is focusing. It looks perfect, unlike the other one. Okay, and then let's see. Dialing down. It's the flyback. Okay. Either way, it's burn free, which is great. And yeah, that looks good. I really want to hook up a game to it. And it does look a little, I wonder if it's the, if it's my flyback. It still looks a little kind of fuzzy around here. Can you see that? It looks fuzzy. Here it looks clear, the rest looks fuzzy. Turning up the flyback a little bit. One guy I read on the forums, he said that the anode cup, the two little clips, it may be like not contacting correctly, so you have to widen them. So I tried widening it, and it's still doing what it's doing, but it could be just my eye. So let me switch. I'm going to go to other Wow, that looks way better. And I need to adjust where it's at as well. Look at that. Beautiful, burn free, check that out. That's awesome. And the blue that you're seeing is kind of, looks like a light blue. It's actually a really nice sharp blue here, a deep blue, which is great. So the color-wise, I didn't have to adjust anything. I just had to adjust the, probably where everything's at. So I'm gonna continue. That looks beautiful. That's red, perfectly red, green. And you can see it's a little off here. Probably have to move it over. And then blue, and then white. Yeah, you can see it's a little, I have to adjust stuff because it's not coming out correctly. And then that's the flyback, so I have to adjust it. So I wonder if it is the flyback that had the issue to begin with. So when I turn it up, I'd have to turn the brightness down to compensate, or the contrast, or turn up the contrast. So yeah, I wonder if something else is going on here. It's still behaving the same. Everything looks beautiful though. The colors and everything look amazing. And that's because it's swapped. So we did successfully swap it, but not sure if we solved the problem. Yeah, see now it looks a little crazy. So yeah, it might be my flyback. One of my friends said, hey, it's probably your flyback because those are crap. Yeah, it just looks terrible. It's not as good as I wanted it to look. So the moral of the story is it may not be the tube, but this is burn free, so we're probably in the same boat like we were before, but this is a burn free tube. So that's the main thing. We mission accomplished here when it came to tube swapping. So what I'm going to throw in, I wonder if I can make an extension. I want to see if I can throw this to outrun. I'm going to figure out how to get it there so I'm able to test it out. But in the meantime, I'm just going to crimp everything up and permanently put these on there for the yoke windings and stuff to make sure it's fine, or the yoke connectors. So let me do that. I'm going to turn this off. We'll be right back. Okay, so I repositioned it. I have it plugged into my outrun. I just need to plug in the power cord, which I think I disconnected on purpose. Yep. Just go ahead and put that in there. All right, let's see how it looks. So I will power it on. But the tube swap definitely worked. That's awesome. So most likely I will get a new flyback for this thing. Yeah, it looks like it's just low. If I turn it up, it gets too, you see like the lines across. Yeah, let me turn this off to see. There you go. So it looks great. Actually, it looks okay on the camera, but it looks worse in person. It's really dark blue. Does still look a little blurry to me. But I think it's just the flyback. If I turn up the flyback, yeah, let me just turn this up here so I can see what I'm doing here. Yeah, if I turn up the flyback like I'm about to do right now. Oops, I just turned it down. See how you see the lines? These lines are because if you ever have lines in your monitor like that, you just have to turn on the flyback. So when I turn it down, it looks like that, but then I turn up the brightness. And see, it looks blurry to me still. So I think it was not the tube that was making it blurry, which makes me feel good because that means that rejuve that we did was really successful. Just that tube that I have there just has severe burn-in. So this is a totally burn-free. That's awesome. So I'm going to leave the other one. If you guys are wondering, I'm going to leave this one out as my spare, which is eventually going to become my Zookeeper. I'm doing a Zookeeper restore in the future. Yeah, I'm focusing it now. It's not really doing much. That's the best I could focus it right there. Yeah. And let me try the contrast. I know the contrast messed with it a lot. Yeah, that's darker. That's brighter. Now as far as the image goes, like where it is on the screen, I'm gonna try, let me go and get my tool here. I'm gonna get the shorter one. And I'm gonna do the vertical positioning. Let's see if it does anything. Yeah, so I can move it down. It's within spec, which is amazing. That's great. Usually it'll be off a little bit. And let's see the width. Do I have that? V size is right here. Let's see. Yep. I can make it bigger, smaller, no problem. It's within spec. That's really what I wanted to see. And then as far as horizontal positioning, left and right, yeah, that works good too. And I wonder, yeah, that's actually perfect right there. But it is a little blurry. And the reason it is, I think, is because the flyback. Which, you know, when you do get a flyback, gives you a new anode cup as well. So, yeah. So if you guys have it, I'll turn this around in a second. Actually, let me just take this off. I'll show you what I mean with the flyback. But the flyback on this thing here, I'll turn it up too. It's the people are saying that the ones with the white knobs. You see how they have white knobs here? On the K7000 is pretty much garbage. All right, guys. So I have the old tube here. I'm actually going to try to remove the yoke. I've never done it before, but from what I'm told, you're not supposed to move it sideways. You're supposed to move it just straight up and down. And you have to loosen a couple things. This one here and that one there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to use a screwdriver. I already took off some of the glue that was kind of on here. There's glue, I guess, for the convergence rings, and it just kind of overlapped here, and I wanted to make sure it's not contacting that at all. So, yeah, I'm going to loosen it some more. I want it to be completely off. So this comes off right here. You'll want to get the lower one as well. So I've done a lot of research on this, so I've never done one per se, I guess, but I figured might as well show you guys and try it myself here instead of having you guys research it in other videos. But there's like these little notches I noticed that are on these rings itself, and you have to kind of just like get it out of that notch, out of that groove. So you have to open it up pretty good. So I'm trying to lift it. Come on, I just had it a second ago. It came out, but... And, you know, you can take this out completely if you wanted to, this screw like I'm doing now. Just so you can kind of open it. So, I'm going to kind of put it back in and leave it loose here. Just so I don't lose it. But you want it off that part right there. And then afterwards, you got to kind of just like, kind of turn it a little bit like this, and you just work your way up. So first I'm going to get this off. Let's see if it's going to let me. It's supposed to lift straight up, and I don't want to crack my tube. Oh, there's more glue. That explains it. There's a lot of glue down here. It's still part of this thing right here, which is the convergence rings. So let me just get this off. I didn't realize there was glue there. Let's try it again. Wow, that thing's caked on there. So yeah, so that looks like it's working. Kind of just getting in there, getting it a little loose, these plastic pieces. I don't want to break them off. They're like little tabs. So I'm kind of doing that. Okay, that one's loose. Let me grab this other one here. Wow, that one's not coming out. That one's kind of loose. I could feel it. Man, let me get a better angle here. So I'm not cutting the tape, I'm actually just slipping it in between there to kind of loosen it up a little bit. Yeah, I can feel it kind of moving already a little bit. There we go. So you heard that little click sound? That was like the seal, the little, I guess the adhesion or the glue breaking free. And there we go. All right. All right, so just be careful. And then this should come out now. I feel like they're all loose now. There we go. So I'm lifting it straight up, taking it out. And then the thing that was around this is over here. So I'm just gonna put this around it. And again, there's like these little, if you can see that, my hands are filthy, sorry, but there's like a little tab there. and then this goes over that, and it kind of fits in there. So actually, that's the screwdriver here. I'm just going to tighten it a little bit, not too tight, just so it doesn't move around. So that's it. So this part goes up for reference in future videos. This will go up, and then the rest comes down. These are the rings for the convergence. That's off now, and now this should be able to come right out. If I lift straight up. This one I'll just take out right now. And yep, it's coming right out. And then I'm going to go ahead and just, again, there's these little tab thingies like right there. So I'm just going to put that so it matches over it. See right there? And then just tighten it up so it doesn't get lost. So if we did a tube swap that's not compatible with the ohms, I guess we'd remove this on both tubes and then put this in this order, like right over it, slide it all the way down. The only thing is you'd have to adjust these. These are glued on. These are like little miniature magnets in there that kind of stabilize the picture. These, obviously, these little rubber pieces I'm going to keep. It looks like they're glued on with like rubber cement, but they just hold the yoke in place. Looks like there were 4 of them. There's one over there that kind of fell off, but I'm just going to salvage these. Let me use a flathead here just to get these off, but they're glued on like right over here. And I'm just carefully taking them off. And this other one here, and then I'll just put it in a baggie and label it yoke for K7000. And these things right here, I'll actually break them off with this. That's the glue, and there's these things. I just don't want to break them. Yeah, these are glued on pretty good. Man, this glue is all over the place. So yeah, you know, they have like a magnet, I guess, in here somewhere. So I'm just gonna leave it. And this one here, we just go ahead and, there we go. Now if I would've, it's a good thing to experiment with this tube, because this tube obviously we don't want anymore because it's burned in. But you know, it's good to experiment on a tube that you don't need, because I've heard people taking stuff off and it just disintegrates in their hands when they're trying to take the yoke off. So that made me a little nervous, but I think this one is pretty fine. There's a glue, there's that magnet. It's good to keep those around. And that's it. So here's a tube. That's how it looks. It's a skinny neck. It's amazing how they made these in the past and stuff. I may take off this grounding strap just to salvage it, just to have a spare. It has like these little springs and stuff, so it is removable. So I'm going to try to take those out now. Just to have it. You know, any little part you can salvage on these things, you want to keep, because you never know if you need it for future stuff. So I'm just going to keep this. I'm going to put this all together in a bag, and that's it. So, yep, so again, the tube that we took out, it's a Philips brand. It says right here. Let me kind of hold it up here. You guys see that? Yeah, it's a Philips brand A48 ABK05X. And it's a CR31 plug. It's fully compatible with the Funai that I said earlier and the model number that I said earlier. So, okay, so let me get this all cleaned up. I'm actually gonna put everything away, and then I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna stick it in the TV's chassis. That way we can just dispose of it in the recycling center properly. Okay, so I have everything here for the TV, which I'm gonna kind of throw it back in. I actually thought about taking this flyback and salvaging it just in case. Why not? You know, there was nothing wrong with it. It does power a 19-inch monitor that had the same specs that I had. I wonder if I can actually exchange it. I'm going to take it out. Why not? It's actually connected down here with this power thingy here. So I may be able to get in there. I'm just gonna, you know what, I'm gonna turn on my desoldering iron. So I'm just going on every single pin. This one's a little thick, so I have to go on the side here. It's one of those stabilizing pins. Looks like. There we go. See how it's sucking all the solder out. To be honest, I doubt they recycle these flybacks. They probably just take the tube itself. So now that that's out, let me see, let me just go over each one again. That one's a little thick, so I can't get in there. And I think, I don't know if I need this one here. Let's get it just in case. Yeah, I do. Okay. All right, so let's put that down. I don't think I need it anymore. It's like these little tabs that you move. And there you go, comes right out. That thing is amazing. So we're gonna keep this because I'm gonna do some research. It has a model number on here. I'm gonna see maybe if I can salvage this somehow because there was nothing wrong with this at all. If I can use this in place of the flyback that's in there now, that'd be great. But I'm probably gonna end up ordering it. But we'll see. I was looking at the knobs, they're not glued on. They're actually in nice condition. It just has a little dirt and gunk on it and stuff, but it's pretty good. So I'm gonna keep all this, I'm gonna salvage that. So let's put this on the side. And to make my life easier, so I won't have all these wires dangling around, I'm just gonna cut these. I'm gonna take the tube we just took everything off from, and we're gonna put it in. Just gonna drop it in. Okay, gotta be careful because I am on glass. This is my Arcanoid build, or cocktail. All right, and then now we just put these in. So you're basically just, you know, kind of salvaging the case. That way it looks like a normal TV when you bring it back, and nobody will hassle you in the recycle center. Because, you know, some people will get more strict than others, so it's better to just go by the rules, follow the rules. All right, let me get my screwdriver. I think I put it to charge over here. Okay. All right, so that's it. No flyback, no wires to connect, no yoke, and I think we could just put it all together. And I don't want this to be connected, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clip it, take this off here. I'll clip it here on the outside. Throw this away, and I'll clip it on the inside too, because we don't want people connecting this by mistake or anything. Some people will hack that, you never know. And is this garbage? Yeah. So then we'll put this on top. And I'm gonna take this off. This is actually my settings that I wrote down that I'm gonna put on the new monitor, because now those yokes are those settings. Should fit nicely. There we go. And we'll put all the screws back in. So thank you, TV. Thank you, Sears. And thanks to the person. I'm not sure if she's gonna watch this or not, but I told her I use it for arcade restorations. Her name was Mary. She was really nice. And she held it for me. I actually couldn't pick it up until Friday. And I contacted her, I think, over the weekend, and she was really patient. She said, no problem, I'll have it for you. I'll save it for you. And she did. So it was really easy to pick up. This one, I think, now that I think about it, I thought I got it through Craigslist. There's a website called freecycle.org where people recycle stuff. You're not allowed to sell anything on there. So anything you see listed is completely free. So that's where I got it. I got it through that. Let me see where this hole is here. I can't really tell. There it is. There's two. And that's good. All right. So that's it. That's all you got to do when you're putting it together. Looks like it did, except it has my burn-in in there. So this is an arcade. It's crazy how, it's going back to the recycle thing. I actually got to take a picture of this just for memory's sake. And that's it. So let me take it off. We'll recycle it, and I'll head over there later today and drop it off. Yeah, so I did look at my Outrun, by the way, and the monitor's off, obviously, because we're using that one instead. But this Outrun monitor does have that same crappy flyback on it, but it's working good. So people are saying, hey, replace it no matter what. But I'm kind of reluctant because, they say that the cheap Chinese ones that you order online are not as good, and they die quicker. So I'm going to leave the original one in that Outrun machine, and this one I think I'm going to switch out. So we'll do another part. This is like going to be part 3 of this monitor, or part 4. But we definitely have to do it because I really believe that's what it is, to be honest. The fact that it's not focusing properly here. So you can see I'm actually going to, let me try it with the light at first to see if you can see anything. Yeah, you see how it's blurry? That's the sharpest I can get it to look. So I'm going to turn off the light here, you can tell. Yeah, so I'm going to zoom in right here. And I'm trying to hit focus. And it's kind of like, oh, I can't focus, what's going on? But yeah, so you can even see with the logo, looks blurry. And that black line is just the scan, scan frequency that the camera can't keep up with. But yeah, other than that, it looks beautiful. The colors are really vibrant. I can already tell that once we change the flyback, I think it's going to solve our problem. So this definitely is not going to go in my my Rolling Thunder, but it will go in my Zookeeper because I want a brand new monitor. Right now I have the Arkanoid and it has severe burn-in in that. Plus it's a vertical mounted chassis, I believe. So this will be perfect to be in there. So let me go ahead. I'll update that. I'll order the part, and then we'll just kind of update swapping it out in a future episode. If you guys are impatient on how to install a flyback, you could always go to that Tim guy's channel. I believe he did it, where he just desoldered it the old school way. I'm going to be using the Hakko FR300, which I can't recommend enough, which will make with the bigger tip on that will look really amazing. Okay, that's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. We're almost hitting 3,000 subscribers. I'm really psyched about that. I think I'm going to celebrate with t-shirts. I think that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to have the goal. We're about 300 and change away from 3,000 subscribers. Once we have that, I can go ahead and do a t-shirt campaign to fund the channel a little bit. And, I know you guys have been asking me about it, but, I have a design in mind, and I will get those out. But 3,000, that's a round number. Let's get there. So pass it on to your friends. Hit the like button. Do whatever you can, retweet it, all that kind of stuff. I know you guys do that already. There's a few followers that are dedicated. They're awesome. So yeah, and hit the bell icon right here, just to be notified when I do stuff. And I think I'm going to do some live events. I think I'm going to take a break for a little bit from editing. And I'll do a couple live events. I have a Raspberry Pi that my son has that, we can play some games. We can do maybe Heavy Burger. Have you guys tried that before? It's a really cool game that's on Steam that I just bought. So yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care. It worked.